You are at the store buying absolutely all the things for your new baby, and it is so easy to forget yourself. After your baby is born, that placenta is going to peel off and leave you with an open scab inside your uterus. And you are going to need some supplies to deal with that as well for yourself. So today I'm going to give you a few supplies that it's good to have on hand for after you have that baby. And I got to tell you that even as a nurse who practiced 20 years in labor and delivery, when I went to have my babies, I would completely forget about myself because I was entirely consumed about how I was going to take care of that baby. These are simple things that you can grab easily at the store while you are there. So keep watching. I actually have a whole postpartum supply checklist and a postpartum plan that I think you guys are going to want to check out. I'm going to leave the link down below. Okay, this one can be a little bit intimidating to just go into the Depends aisle and pick some up. And I was excited to see that there is a brand that is making them more for young people. So these would be incontinence pads, or you can also use them for the blood that you're going to have coming out of your uterus. It's called Hazel. They are available at Target. This video is not sponsored by them, but they did send me a box of them. So the beauty of these, you're not going to need them for your entire postpartum time. By the way, this is the extra large. I wanted them to send them the big size to me to see if it was going to fit all of our big mamas. And I also love how high they come because it's not going to affect your C-section scar should you have one. But you just wear these because there is absorbency throughout the entire brief. So you're less likely to end up bleeding on your sheets, needing to do more laundry. It's just nice to have a few of these on hand. And when you're done bleeding on these, you can just send them right into the trash so you don't have to worry about it. I did notice their pack comes with about 8 of them. I think that might be good to start with, but you might need one more pack depending on your bleeding. I know with my first baby, 8 would have entirely been enough. But if you've already had babies, you might end up needing more depending on your bleeding. I would at least get 1 pack. That way you could show your husband what it is and they can come grab some more at the store. After this, you're going to move on to nighttime pads and then regular pads and then a panty liner. Most people bleed between 2 to 6 weeks. I would say the sweet spot is about a month after they have their baby. And a lot of that is a spotting time after you have your baby. By the way, I have a whole video on postpartum warning signs, and your bleeding increasing is one of the warning signs. So make sure that you're watching that video as well. But these giant pads can be a good thing. If you don't find Hazel at your local store, you can use any incontinence underwear. Most people know them as Depends. It's what our grandma wears when they aren't continent or they leak a little bit of urine. But for you, you're going to use them for bleeding. And also, fun fact, right after you have your baby, it may be difficult to keep your urine in, but if you're finding that it's not getting better, that's something you need to talk with your provider about. But I know for me, on every baby, for the first few days, if I really had to pee and I was standing up, these would have come in handy for that as well. Okay, the next thing you're going to want to have on hand is ibuprofen. Now, maybe you've missed taking some ibuprofen during your pregnancy because most often it isn't recommended, although who knows, when you're watching this video, things may have changed. But ibuprofen can be used for the cramps that your uterus has once that placenta has been released. Now, in the hospital, they're likely to give you 600 to 800 milligrams of this, which is just 3 to 4 tablets. It's the same thing at home, so you can use your home ibuprofen, or if the hospital is providing you some, you can use those as well. But ibuprofen can be really helpful for your postpartum cramps. Just make sure that you take it with food. Hillary on her 3rd baby completely ignored that advice, and I made my stomach very upset. It doesn't need to be a full meal. It can be a few crackers. Anymore, I just take a handful of nuts, and I have that when I take my ibuprofen so that your stomach doesn't get upset by it. Now, this is something my mom used this as a first aid spray when I was little. I think she would put it on burns and things like that. It's called Dermaplast, and you are actually going to spray it on your lady bits. And it helps numb it. Now, the thing that I love this one the most for is when you start to itch as it starts to heal. So our body naturally goes through a phase where it hurts and then it starts to heal. And during that time frame, it can itch. So sometimes your perineum, which isn't our favorite place to be itching, can feel a little bit itchy. And I found that Dermaplast helped a lot with that. Now, I don't know that you need to have a bottle of this on hand. Most hospitals will provide you this at the hospital if you have a vaginal delivery. So it's a great one to ask on your hospital tour what things they provide for moms after delivery. And you're likely not going to need more than 1 bottle of this. So if they provide it at a hospital, that's all you're going to need. Again, big fan of the hospital tour. If they only offer an online one, especially if you can ask questions there, still ask them what you're provided postpartum, because every hospital is a little bit different, but everyone I've worked with has given us some Dermaplast spray. Now there are other naturaler ones of things like this. So it's just a numbing spray, pain relieving spray. It might come under other brands as well. Now here is one of the best things you can get. It's called Tucks. This is pads with witch hazel on them. Now most often people use these for hemorrhoids. That's what I would see the ads for when I was a kid. But the witch hazel really helps any issues with your bottom after you've had your baby. Now I should say that most of these are going to be for a vaginal delivery. You're still going to want the Depends and a few of these other things even if you have a C-section delivery. If you guys want a video on supplies for a C-section delivery, tell me down below. I can make one of those as well. But these are mostly for a vaginal delivery, especially the Tucks. These are for if you stretched a lot or if you're swollen and things like that. We put them on your underwear and it just makes it a lot easier. By the way, if you're like, on your underwear, Hillary, what the heck are you talking about? I actually have a whole video where I go over how we use these in the Dermaplast spray in the restroom. I'll link it down below. Now the final one is a Peri bottle sprayer. So you're going to fill this baby with water. You can use cold, you can use warm, and then you open up the top and then you just use this to spray wherever it's hurting. Now I'm a big fan of the Peri spray bottle, but I'm an even bigger fan of the bidet. We installed a bidet at our house and I absolutely love it. It is surprising how cheap they are at Home Depot, and they are actually not that hard to install at all. It uses clean water from your water system, not toilet water to spray at your bottom. And I think it would have been really nice after I had my baby. But in a pinch, these Peri bottle sprays can work as well. Now, those are just a few of the things that you're going to want to have postpartum. I want to tell you exactly more about how you'll be using them, especially the Dermaplast and the Tucks. So I have a whole video about using those that I'm going to put right here. Thanks for joining us here on The Pregnancy Nurse, where we get you prepared, not scared, for your upcoming hospital birth and life postpartum.